Hi guys, so here I am again, Vanetta here. Okay, so another area of interest, sorry, there's an airplane going by outside. So that's what that noise is in the background. Another area of interest here that I absolutely think that anybody coming to Brazil to start any type of business is to study the workers' rights laws here, okay? They can be very complex and confusing for people who are not used to them. There have been recently a lot of changes with regard to employment here, and they've basically been changes that have been put into action to make the payroll taxes lower, to help companies more intelligently structure their companies so that hiring employees is not so expensive. Because one of the major problems that Brazil has had up until now is that it's just way too expensive to hire people and fire people here. you know, there have been there used to be, and there still are, tax laws that are extremely protective of the employees. And I have to say that after I studied the history of this place, I actually understand why it is that way. It's because Brazil also has a very strong history of employers basically not treating employees with any sort of respect whatsoever. So in the past, it wasn't uncommon for people to be, for example, working a lot and not getting any money for it, or living basically as slaves, working for companies with no compensation. And as a matter of fact, in the poorer areas of Brazil, this is still a problem. At least a few times per year, I'm reading an article about how a group of people was discovered somewhere living in really bad conditions, basically working as slaves. So this is a really hotly contested issue here in Brazil. So it's definitely something to really spend your time asking a lot of questions about, and really studying how to hire and fire someone, okay? The basic way to hire someone, the traditional way, is for you to sign something called Carteira do Trabalho, okay? So this is a standard work contract. People here have a little booklet that traditionally employers would sign, and basically it would outline the wages and the benefits, how long the contract is, things like that, okay? So if you hire a person under the Carteira do Trabalho regime, then be aware that you are responsible for paying their basic wages, but you will also be responsible for a lot of taxes and payments on top of that. The ones that I can think of right now. Sorry about that. So yeah, I was talking about the traditional ways to hire employees here. Okay, so I was talking about the traditional way of hiring people under the Carteira do Trabalho regime. Okay, so that regime is actually it can be very expensive for a company to hire somebody using that plan, because basically the company is responsible for paying the basic salary and a lot of benefits on top of that, okay? So typical benefits that you will see here in Brazil are the salary itself, and if you sign the Carteira do Trabalho of your employee, they will also be eligible for a 13th salary, which I know that this is common in, I think, in some European countries as well, but we definitely don't have a yearly bonus as a right in America. So I was really surprised by that. After 1 year, the employees also become eligible for 1 month of paid leave, 1 month of paid holiday. So, and there are a few other taxes as well. The company is also responsible for making a payment to the employees' FGTS fund or their retirement fund, so that if the employment is ever laid off, they have the right to take some of that money or all of it during the time that during the time that they are laid off, or they just use it as their retirement fund. There are a few other laws as well, but those are the main ones that I hear people complaining about the most. Is FGTS, which is the mandatory savings, the 13th salary, which is the mandatory bonus at the end of the year, and the mandatory 1 month of paid leave after the person has been working at a company for a year or more, okay? And another thing to be aware of is that if the Carteira do Trabalho is signed, the company also has to pay to fire the person, okay? So if the Carteira, I think you have I think you can keep the person for, if I'm not mistaken, it's 3 months as a sort of probationary period. So it is really, really important for you, if you hire somebody, if you think that they're not going to work out for your company, definitely fire them before 3 months is up, because after 3 months, and after the Carteira do Trabalho has been signed, you're basically going to, basically every year that person works for you, you're basically looking at paying more and more money for that person to leave your company, even if they are horrible. Now, on paper, there are ways to fire somebody without having to pay them, but basically that way, after the Carteira has been signed, firing somebody in that way can be very, very, very difficult to do in the courts here, mainly because the workers' rights courts, they typically heavily favor the worker over the company, because of this really bad history that a lot of companies here have unfortunately had with basically treating workers very, very poorly here. And let's see, recently, over the last 2 years, there have been some changes or modifications to the workers' rights laws. So now, most companies they also have the right to outsource people, okay? And with outsourcing, basically you would be looking for a larger company to basically hire people from that company, okay? So temp services and outsourcing services are becoming more of a thing here. And when a company outsources, as you guessed, they don't take any of the responsibilities of, for example, paying the workers the 13th salary and all of the extra benefits and things like that. So a lot of the larger companies are starting to move in that direction. And another way of hiring is by direct contract. So another popular way is for people here, especially if they're asking for larger amounts of money, they can opt to basically start a small company in their own name, as a Simples Nacional company or as a Micro Empreendedor Individual company, and basically make direct contract with the company that they want to work for, so that the company that basically so that they can receive more money off the top, but at the same time the company bears no responsibility for all of the extra benefits and all of that they typically have to pay employees. And if the company wants to terminate that employee at any time that has that direct contract, they will be able to do so without having to basically pay that person to leave them. Okay, there are a lot of caveats, twists, and turns though, as far as hiring people is concerned. So this is another area that I encourage you, if you're going to hire people here in Brazil, definitely do your homework, and definitely invest in a consultation with an international law firm that handles civil law or workers and workers' rights laws. Okay, because again, it seems crazy. It will seem kind of crazy, if you're from one of the European countries, or if you're from the United States. So one of the mistakes that we tend to make is to just simply think that it's crazy and to just not believe it, but that is a mistake. So do not think that. Remember that it's a different culture, and that you cannot impose what you think or how you feel onto this culture. And I say that because that's what always happens, is that I see people deciding, well, it's not going to be like that for me, and it always is. So yes, definitely invest in a consultation with an international law firm that deals with the area of workers' rights. Okay? Thank you.